Hi everybody, today we want to have a look at the vowel sounds in English. In particular, the single vowel sounds, also called monophthongs. Now there are 12 single vowel sounds in British English, and they are all voiced. And that means that we use our vocal cords to produce them. And so they're voiced, they're quite loud, and you can even feel the vibration in your throat from your vocal cords. Now, we can show the different vowel sounds on a chart. This one here is the chart we're going to use. It looks like a trapezium, and we will position all our sounds on here. But let's have a look at the organization of this chart. Now you can see we've got two axes here, a horizontal axis, and the horizontal axis really shows us where in the mouth the sound is produced. And we say the left side is the front and the right side is the back. So sounds that are on the left side or towards the left side are really sounds that are produced towards the front of the mouth. And then we kind of go through the mouth, and then the sounds that are more towards the right side are sounds that are produced at the back of our mouth, more towards our throats. Now we also have the middle, of course, and that is the center, and so those are central vowel sounds, and we'll come to them later. So here is a little diagram just to help you remember that. So remember, the horizontal axis shows where in the mouth the sound is produced, and we go from front to central to the back. Let's have a look at the other axis, and that is the vertical axis. And you can see already two words here, close and open. Now that is the position of our mouth, but also of the tongue within our mouth. So this axis tells us how wide open our lips are, but especially also if the tongue inside our mouth is more elevated towards the top, the palate, or if it is lowered. And so closed sounds, that means the tongue is quite raised in a way, and the mouth is not as wide open, and then open means really the tongue is lowered and the mouth is more open. And again, we can of course divide between close and open into smaller categories, and we would say there's closed, closed mid, and open. Okay, so now that we had a look at the organization of the chart, let's have a look at the vowel sounds and where they would go. Okay, so here they are, our 12 vowel sounds. You can see them here on the right, or with their phonemic transcript symbol. Remember the ones with the two dots, the colon next to them, those are long vowel sounds. Now we're going to start with the sound that would go right in the middle of our trapezium. And that is this orange sound here. And some of you might remember the name of it. This is the schwa sound, and it sounds like this. If you don't know much about this schwa, make sure you watch one of my other videos, and it's all about the schwa. I will link to it in this video. Now the schwa is really easy to produce. You just relax everything, you produce a short sound, and it is the central vowel sound, so it goes right in the middle of our chart. There's another sound that is pretty close by here, and that is this sound here, It's a long sound, and you can see that it is a little bit lower than the schwa. That is because the tongue position is a little bit lower. So we had the schwa, and It's long, but the position of the tongue is also lower and our mouth is a little bit more open. Next, we want to have a look at two sounds that are really opposite in this chart, and that is the long E and the long ah. And I would encourage you to repeat the sounds with me because it becomes really obvious why they are where they are in the chart. So E is a front vowel sound, a front and closed vowel sound. That is because it is produced at the front of our mouth. And also the tongue is quite high and our mouth is relatively closed. E. So say the sound and become aware of where your lips are, how your lips are formed, and where your tongue is. E. And then in comparison we have ah. Now that sound is really produced right at the back of your mouth, ah, and your mouth is wide open and the tongue is really low. And that is also why when we go to the dentist or to the doctor and they want to look in our mouth or in our throat, they ask us to say ah, because the mouth is really wide open and the sound is produced at the back and they have a very good look inside our mouth. All right, ah. Let's have a look at 3 more vowel sounds. So we had E, long E, and then quite nearby we have the short version here, I. So the difference here is we move a little bit towards the back and the tongue is slightly lower here, I. And then we also have E, a little bit further down. This is an open mid-front vowel sound, I. So our mouth is a little bit more open, the tongue again is lower, and then really at the bottom here, the open vowel sound here is eh. And you can really see the difference or feel the difference between I, eh, because your mouth is continuously opening more and more and your tongue is lowering in your mouth. Next we have the sound oo, also a long vowel sound. And now E and oo are both long and both of them are relatively close, E, oo. And again, if you say this and you look at yourself in a mirror, you could see this very easily. E, oo, the mouth is closed, the lip is and the tongue is relatively high. But the difference here is really E is produced at the front, but oo is really produced more at the back of our throat. Now we can contrast oo with the next vowel sound, and that is O, or also ah that we had before, okay, because they're again on the 2 ends of our vertical axis here. All of these 3 sounds are produced at the back of our throat, oo, oh, ah. However, the difference here is really that oo is a closed vowel sound. The lips are relatively closed, the tongue is more raised, but ah and oh, the mouth is a lot wider open and the tongue is lowered. And then in between, not quite in the middle, we have the vowel sound O. Also a vowel sound that is produced at the back of our mouth, O. However, it is not quite as open. It's more open mid. So you could contrast O with ah. So you notice like O, the mouth is not as wide open. And next to O, we have ah. O, ah. Different sound. One is a little bit more towards the front than the other, but they're both open mid vowel sounds. And last but not least, we have O. So sometimes I talk about oo and O as pairs. That isn't quite true because you can see the place of production isn't quite the same. The long oo is really at the back. O isn't quite as far back. And also it's not as closed, it's more close mid. And that is the vowel chart. So you can see the place of all the 12 vowel sounds, single vowel sounds in English on the vowel chart. Now, I thought it might be helpful for you to have example words instead of just the individual sounds and their symbols. And thankfully, there are words in English all starting with f, with the F, and containing these sounds. So just to go back again quickly, so these were the sounds, and instead of the sounds, I have now written down words containing the sounds, but I wrote them exactly in the same place. So let's have a look again at E and I. So here we have feet and fit, fed and fat. So I'm going to repeat the vertical axis from the top to the bottom, from front to open. Feet, fit, fed, fat. Then we have the two words in the middle. One was for the schwa in the central vowel sound, and one was for the long vowel sound. And those are for and firm. Now, for officially has a long o, but usually this is not a stressed word, and so in its weak form it would be represented by schwa, for. Then we've got the vowel sounds that are produced more towards the back of our throat. So we have at the top food, and then a little bit more to the front again, foot, and then form, fox, far. So have a look over those words again. I hope that they are helpful. I hope they can help you remember the sounds, and they can illustrate a little bit more why the sounds are where they are on the chart, and they will help you remember the sounds as well. I hope you have enjoyed this video and you have learned more about the vowel sounds in English. Have a look at some of my other videos about English pronunciation, and if you like them, please share them and subscribe to my channel.